Wavy radio. I'm thankful that you did me wrong, cause now I got it right, I promise you gon' miss me gone. I done seen it all like the first picture phone. They wishing on my downfall with the wishing bone. Wavy radio.
Pay lawyers. He don't got no car, no jury, no place to stay.
You said Tyreek don't got what?
He don't got no car, no jury. Like, what is you doing it for? What is you hustling for? He ain't doing it but paying lawyers, paying paying Method Man. Like, they don't even got the chain. He don't got no car. Remember they took him to the meeting in the Rover, and they was like, and then they just left him.
Yeah,
they having
yeah.
all these meetings to bring. He got to ride with somebody, then he got to walk or catch an Uber. Man, he ain't got a car, he ain't got an apartment, nothing on the show.
So they gotta get their money up, huh?
$500,000 for his mama lawyer and all this. Like, he always in trouble on the show. Like, who want to go to college and be like him? He ain't got, like, he don't have no purpose of, like, why he doing it. He ain't getting that. Monet.
Now, unless you're on Cloud 10, under a rock, how you heard the motherfucking word? What's good, y'all? It's yours truly. Once again, HeartBreak Ace. Familiar with my content or not, hit that like, comment, subscribe so the algorithm gets breaking content every time I upload. Man, I swear, man, somebody ain't gonna have to say it. You know black people, man, when they get a little bit of money, man, they always act like they ain't never had nothing. Y'all know it's true. You can say whatever you want to say. That ain't really no stereotype, man. I'm good to my damn self. I used to be like that anyway. Before I learned how to grow and become more mature as a man, I was the same way, bro. Got a little bit of money, I used to think I was Big Meech. Whip your work. But never mind that, man. Just make sure the algorithm get y'all these videos so I can like and subscribe, man. Because you already know what I'm going to do to him if he don't get y'all these videos, right? Break his jaw, man. Don't get me tight. Nah, topic of discussion, man. This is a real quick video, man. Shout out to Big Meech, man. If y'all don't know who Big Meech is, I'll give y'all a little background story. I'm gonna just play a little clip just to give people to catch up to speed for the young Gen Z generation. But the people from my age group, we know exactly who Big Meech is. He came up from the bottom, really from the bottom, from Detroit. Him and his brother, his little brother, selling drugs and built the empire. And they were black men. They were richer than rappers. They had a whole lot going on. But as you know, you get too comfortable. Before it's time to get comfortable, good things never last. And Big Meech and Terry, I think they understood that. But before I even get into my breakdown, because I'm going to give you a breakdown how I feel about how they end up getting locked up, the rumors that I heard, and how I feel about him being home now. Which I saluted, man, because everybody a fan of Big Meech, man. And he ain't never changed his moniker. He's still bout it fool. The illest nigga in Nebraska. He still, like he said, he built his empire off drugs. He let it be known. He ain't hiding. And because of that, man, I'm gonna go on the block and make sure the op ain't dead. Cause you know what I'm saying? He just got home recently, which is he in a halfway house. That's what the news say from the time of me making this video. So he in a halfway house right now. He ain't trying to get his hands dirty. I said, bro, you was in that motherfucker like 20 years, my nigga. I got you. So if the op on the block, you already know what we doing. If you're familiar with my channel. We ain't never sitting here. If you scared, stay home. Mask on, mask off. I'm coming with mines off. Let's spin the block.
Demetrius and Terry Flannery, aka Big Meech and Southwest T, came up in Detroit. While they were growing up, they saw their parents constantly struggle with poverty. They would get their power shut off and relied on food stamps to feed the family. And eventually, money issues caused Meech and Terry's parents to divorce. At the time, Meech and Terry were still in high school. They knew that their mom needed help with the bills. They started selling a little weed to help get by. But then, everything changed after they linked up with a dude named E.D. Boyd, who ran a crew called the 50 Boys. Boyd was one of the biggest dealers in Detroit back then, and the crack epidemic that was tearing the city apart made him rich. Meech and Terry started moving coke for Boyd and saw how much money there really was in the drug game. They were able to pay all their bills by selling some weed, but getting into coke was a totally different level. But when you really grinding in the streets, there's always gonna be issues with other hustlers. Meech and Terry started beefing with another dealer named LaDon Simon, and the situation got so heated that LaDon allegedly tried to take Meech out in a drive-by. Even though he was almost killed, Meech wasn't backing down. Terry and him ended up finding their own plug to bring coke into the city, and that's when their empire really started to take off. Most big dealers either end up dead or in prison, but E.D. Boyd actually retired from the game and didn't have any issues with Meech and Terry taking over. He told DJ Vlad that they're all still friends to this day, and that he just got out of the hustle when the time was right. Terry and Meech were supplying weight to almost every dealer in the city, and all the success just made their issues with LaDon even worse. One night at a party, their crews got into a fight, and someone started letting off shots. LaDon says he grabbed Meech to use him as a shield, and that's when LaDon's brother Elvis was shot and killed. LaDon let go of Meech and ran over to his brother, and the shooter caught him 5 times in the back. His brother was killed, but LaDon survived the shooting, and a few months later, he took another shot at Meech. Meech was partying with a bunch of people in LaDon's area at a diner. LaDon's 10-year-old nephew had just been beaten to death around the same time, and he had just lost his brother, so he was already on edge. It's not clear exactly what went down that night, but LaDon allegedly pulled his gun and shot Meech several times. Getting shot makes a lot of people switch up how they move or leave the streets behind completely, but Meech was back on his feet just a few days later and went even harder into the drug game. But just taking over Detroit wasn't enough for him, and in 1990, he moved to Atlanta to expand the empire. While Terry stayed back in Detroit, Meech went to the East Coast and started taking over. Instead of rolling into Atlanta, trying to push out all the dealers in the city, Meech went to all the clubs and started flexing tons of cash. Everyone saw him stunning, and that's how Meech met all the major players in Atlanta. Meech didn't resort to violence to take over a new city. Instead, he started supplying weight to the dealers who already ran Atlanta. That way, he avoided most of the street drama while bringing in even more money. Back then, Terry and Meech had a plug in Colombia, and the weight was brought into the US on the East Coast around Florida. But after the cops started cracking down on the shipments coming in, Meech moved to LA to find a new connect. Meech found a new plug on the West Coast, and within a few years, they expanded to Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, and more. Terry and Meech were already running one of the biggest drug rings in the country, but in the early 2000s, the Black Mafia Family went from just a crime organization to a full-on brand. Terry and Meech were always hanging out with rappers, and in the 2000s, Meech created BMF Entertainment as a label and promotion agency. Having a legit company to launder your money through is a smart move, but Meech's lifestyle and the BMF brand is what got the attention of the feds. Terry and Meech had been in the drug game together for years, but they always had issues when it came to Meech's partying. Terry was more low-key and knew that flexing all their money could get attention from the cops, but that's also how Meech brought in new business. Whenever he went to a new city, Meech would walk into the clubs and drop 50 to 100K every night. All the hustlers would notice the new guy throwing around crazy money, and that's how Meech would link up with local dealers. Back in the day, it wasn't that big of a deal, but when Meech started BMF Entertainment, he put the spotlight on the whole organization. The BMF brand popped off in the rap industry, but nobody knew where all the cash came from.
If you can only be like the nigga that's running your crew. If you got a robbing ass boss, then you're gonna be a robbing ass crew. If you got a real boss who know how to sacrifice and take the bad along with the good and show his crew know how to be men, then this what you get. Everybody shining like new money. There ain't no other crew like this in the world, and there never will be another one. Not black, it never will be, because it said that if niggas like this is shining all together, being together, doing shit every day, then they gonna fall out over some money or somebody gonna rob, steal, and kill. I have yet to see that. All of us get along with money. We have money, we've been had money. Money ain't nothing without us being together. It don't make no difference if you the maid or if you the motherfucking bodyguard. Everybody get extras around here. It's
cars, mansions, and even put up billboards advertising the company. Terry wasn't feeling how Meech was moving though, and that's when their relationship started to fall apart. But before BMF went down, Meech got caught up in a double homicide in 2003. In November 2003, Meech was at a spot called Club Chaos in Atlanta. He got into an argument with a dude named Anthony Wolf Jones, who used to be Diddy's bodyguard, and at some point, shots started going off. It's not clear who started shooting first, but Jones and his homie Lamont Gertie were both killed, and Meech got shot in the ass. Meech was booked for double homicide, but the judge let him out on house arrest since the case against him was so weak. By this point, Terry and him were barely even talking to each other, and Meech getting arrested hurt their relationship even more. While Meech was locked up in Atlanta, Terry was still running his business on the West Coast. And during his 34th birthday, a bunch of Meech's goons came through wearing shirts that said, "Free Big Meech." They brought in a monitor so Meech could address the party, and by the time he was done talking, the situation allegedly got so heated that both sides had their guns out. Luckily, nothing too serious went down at the party, but the end of BMF was getting close. The cops have been trying to investigate BMF since the 90s, but they didn't have a major break in the case until 2004. The first cracks in the organization opened up when wiretaps led the cops to a dude named DeCarlo Hoskins. Hoskins was a pretty small-time dealer in Atlanta, but he flipped on two brothers named Amari McCree and Jeffrey Lear, who were both in BMF. And when the cops put a wiretap on them, they discovered that Amari was a high-ranking member of BMF and that Meech really liked him. The cops used the wiretap to pick up Jeffrey while he was transporting 10 kilos of coke. They let him go that day so they can gather more evidence from him. And that's when Jeffrey and Amari tried to do the race. Eventually, the cops found both of them, and that was the beginning of the downfall. People all up and down the organization started to flip, and then the cops got their biggest piece of evidence yet, a wiretap on Terry's phone. Terry and Meech were always fighting about Meech drawing attention to BMF, but there's a chance they'd still be free today if Terry didn't do business over the phone. The cops had him bugged for 5 months, and by the end of the investigation, they had 900 pages of evidence just from his phone conversations. The DEA spent 2 years gathering evidence on it. By October 2005, they had already arrested 17 members of BMF.
You ran outside of the club.
I ain't doing no running.
Okay. And is it true that after you ran outside of the club that you told Detective Thorpe?
I ain't doing no running, Miss Hilt.
Okay. Well, is that what you told Detective Thorpe?
I told you I'd tell him anything.
Okay.
You want the truth though, but I ain't doing no running. I'm gonna make other people run.
All right. And once you went out.
All right, y'all, we back, man. Just like a little quick 10-minute swerve, man. I seen an op on the block, though, and I got him. Shout out to, I think it was Hip Hop Daily from that segment of the video I was just watching. A little background story. Just to get y'all up to speed. That's the Gen Z that don't understand who Big Meech is and his impact on the culture and melanated people. Like I said, when you get too comfortable before it's time to get too comfortable to reap the fruits of your labor, you always gonna fall. The good things won't last. Lucky for Meech, he stayed silent. He loved to see another day. And the rumors came around is that when him and his brother started having the tensions and they separated, because Terry felt like Meech was too flashy and all of that, basically. But everybody knew that Meech was the leader and he was the smartest one, even though Terry was very, very smart and calculated. But it's ironic because initially what really got them caught back in the day when they got caught and did his time is Terry was sloppy on his phone calls. He was on the phone doing different type of drugs, deals and all of that. And this is documented. The feds and the people that got him, they even made a documentary about it. That's how they got him. Terry started being real sloppy when Meech wasn't around him, and he started doing phone calls with his drug deals and all of that. And that's how they was able to link them together. That's the story. So even though he was smart, Meech was more street smart. And that was the most important part. Because you can be smart and all that. That just know you know how to read and write. You know big words. You know how to use them. You know how to add type shit. But you got to be smart in every aspect. And I don't know if y'all really know or understand the world. All this learning and all that they say that you're going to use. When you get older, a lot of that you ain't even going to use. I'd rather be smart, period. But I'd rather be more street smart than book smart. Because anybody in the world can be book smart. All they got to do is keep learning or keep training on the same thing, repetitive. And eventually they're going to know it. That don't make you smart. That just means you know it. You know how to use it because you can remember very well. That's all that really means. Now, when you store that knowledge, it does make you smart only simply because you know what to do and how to break things down or how to explain things. Or you know how to comprehend things whenever you faced with a challenge. So people will call that smart. That's what that do for you. I can't lie about that. So I encourage kids to still learn. I'm not saying don't learn, I'm just saying in reality, street smart is smarter than smart. Because you gotta be able to read between the lines when you're being street smart. You gotta be able to calculate things mathematically before they happen. By certain moves. You always playing chess in the streets. Always. And that was the case of that. Both of them let their egos get to them. I mean, because that's what men do. They got to find themselves spiritually. We all do. And I've been practicing on that for years. It's who I am, true Aquarius. I find it early. Some of them ain't going to find it as early as me. It's men 50 years old and they still ain't figured it out yet. Seriously. But this only the beginning for me. So you're only going to see me grow from this point forward. But that's what it was. They both had their egos and split apart because they don't like, this one ain't like how that one do the business. But they end up getting locked up because the little brother who thought he was so smart, which he was, book smart, wasn't as street smart as the big brother. The one that was flashy. He was street smart, so he invested in a lot of things. He invested in rappers and all kind of stuff. Even though the police, they knew what he was doing, they couldn't ever catch him. It was when him and his brother separated and did that. Sloppy phone calls that got them locked up from one of the dudes they dealt with. But for whatever reason, man, he stayed down, all 10 stayed, and the report says he home. Salute to Big Meech, man. I'm glad he home. Shout out to the OG, man. I hope he can come home and get straight to the bag. I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to do documentaries and stuff with him. And I guess he in a halfway house because that's protocol or whatever. Because let's be real, Big Meech, still Big Meech. He still got plenty of money. But I believe that's protocol. You gotta have he probably on probation or some shit for a couple more years. Cause they let him out a little early. So you know you gotta have proper address and all of that shit when you get out, as far as where you living and what you doing. So that's probably what that is. Cause it definitely ain't got nothing to do with his financial state. A reason why he in the halfway house. But this is just a quick news break, man. I wanted to give y'all, man. You know, I kind of don't like doing the little quick news clips, man, but my channel is for the people, man. So, you know, I like to keep y'all informed and entertained. It's simply what this is. Simply what it is. Guidance and teaching. Help everybody grow to their higher self. That's my purpose. That's my purpose in life. So that's the purpose of this channel. Leave it, comment down below. Let me know how y'all feel for real. Now, you know this world keeps showing me every day. And showing y'all. But I always say, love each other. Till next time. Yours truly, HeartBreak.